Steelers Nation, what's going on, y'all? Appreciate y'all hopping on another episode of the Texas Steel Podcast. I'm Pierce Trexler, joined always by my partner in crime and cousin, Drake Greenstein. Here to dive in, little recap. Unfortunate one. Dropping that L against the Eagles on the road, 27-13. Bloodbath of a game. Definitely wasn't pretty. Drake, how we feeling?
Well, I mean, you know how I feel. I didn't expect us to come out with a win in this game. Um, I did expect us to play differently than what we did. I know GP's out. I know Deshaun's out, but I kind of felt like this was a game where you're playing with house money. I feel like not a lot of us felt a lot of hope going into this game, and I feel like we didn't take much risk. We played conservative.
Mm-hmm.
Came out of the gates those first two drives running the ball. I thought play calling was pretty abysmal, and then on a fourth down when you have nothing to lose, we punt it to pin them back. And I mean, there's so much to tear apart here. I'm not going to sound the alarms like the season's ending by any means, but for a game where I felt like there was little to gain as far as winning because it really wasn't going to do much in the standings, and there was little to lose. Just see what you have in Mike Williams. See what you have in Russ taking a game where he throws, maybe 30 to 40 attempts. Except we just approached the game as if we had so much to lose, so much was on the line, and it really wasn't. So, I mean, almost lost in all three phases. I would say all three, but special teams came out to play. But offensive and defensively, I mean, it was just abysmal.
Yeah, man, I'm right there with you. I mean, for Mike Tomlin being a guy that preaches to not live in your fears, punting the ball on fourth down with 8, 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, down 14 points. I mean, what are you doing? Obviously, that one was an idiotic play call. I mean, down two scores, still running the ball too with Cordero Patterson. Like, well, I mean, it's
Didn't make any
some of the
sense.
play calling was abysmal. We're down, absolutely taking each and every minute off of the play count every time we get the clock to restart with a new set of downs. And I mean, inevitably what it comes down to, I know a lot of us are going to be shooting ourselves in the foot with that Najee Harris fumble. Granted, that was a
Oh,
big miscue of a play. He's going in there, vibes are looking up. We come right out of halftime, we hold him to a 3-and-out, we get the ball back. We're going down, only down 7 in the red zone, and these silly pitch plays. I mean, one, he's not the right running back to be in there for that kind of scheme. That should be a fast, lightning guy like Jalen Warren. Instead, we pitch it to our Thunder. Najee, I can't even discredit him. I mean, obviously, it's easy to point the finger at him, but to act like that was the one play that lost us this ball game, we're kidding ourselves. Definitely thought that was
but it was
no,
the
no,
play
no.
that broke the
It,
camel's back
it was. It
because
was.
after that play, the team lost belief. You could tell the
Completely,
team lost
completely.
belief.
And again, but I don't want to
I get
point
what you're
it
saying,
to.
though. I get what
I
you're
don't.
saying.
There
Yeah.
was many more things that we could have done to start. Only possessing the ball twice in the second half, Drake. We only
Yeah.
had the ball as an
Insane.
offense 2 times in the second half for a total of 11 plays, Drake. 11 plays in the second half
Wow.
does not win you ball games. It
Wow.
doesn't win you playoff games. It doesn't even win you Super Bowls, Drake. This was an abysmal performance on
Yeah.
all three phases of the ball, and it's so upsetting for the way that we started this game. We got the splash early. We got the turnovers early. We had two big TJ Watt coming up with a strip sack, and then another special teams muffing the punt, getting down there. I mean, absolutely exactly the start we could have asked for, and just offense couldn't wake up. Play calling was bare and bland, and
I think this
lost
is
on
one of
all three
those.
phases, Drake. Lost on all three phases.
Yeah, I mean, you could call it that way. I wouldn't really disagree, honestly. I think this is a game, Pierce, where your brother Gage said it pretty well. It's a look at yourself in the mirror game. Look, Steeler fans can disagree with me and be like, "Oh, you're overreacting," but I feel like this was a test. You had Philly playing for the 1 seed, so they were coming out with all of the reasons to play hard and needing this game for a win. And this was a test, a barometer level to see where you're at. And to me, I feel like the Steelers fell flat in their face by essentially telling telling the rest of the world, showing themselves that their style of football is just it's not sustainable in
Mm-mm.
winning big
Mm-mm.
games, Pierce. We're living in the past. We have
What's
games like the
new?
Bengals
What's
games.
new, Drake? The same shit, new maggots. Same shit, new maggots. New season, same script.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was a game in which look, Tomlin is trying so hard. This team is trying so hard to be that team. Smash mouth football. We're gonna win by just being a bully, and it's just not gonna win games. Like they don't have the skill level in the trenches to win. Like they lost every third and short to the Eagles, and then offensively, when we needed a yard, we're running jet sweeps, or not jet sweeps. We're running freaking tosses to
Laterals, 10 yards
Najee.
behind the line of scrimmage
Yeah,
to
it's
get one
just
yard.
yeah. We're just not a team that is. If I mean, I believe that there's enough talent on this roster to win big games, but I think I guess like our ideology of how we're going to play, like the type of offense we're trying to run is just not compatible with today's type of winning. Get it. We've won 10 games, Pierce, but at the end of the day, you saw the Eagles, man. They sent 9 guys in the box, daring a Hall of Fame quarterback to throw it. And what did he do? He did not throw it. They were daring us to throw, and it reminded me of the Bills game when the Bills were sending like 9 guys in the
Mm-hmm.
box in the playoffs, just
Mm-hmm.
daring Mason Rudolph to throw, and we're still running up the gut. So it's just
Completely. Running the ball down 14 points in the fourth quarter is just it's brain numbing. I never understand it. We're obviously passing or handing the ball off to Cordero Patterson on I mean, it's just the play calling so predictable. I mean, didn't really do anything to get Russell Wilson out of the pocket, running some play actions, which is his style of
yeah.
football. It's an abysmal loss on my front. And yes, granted, we had Pickens out, we had Ogunjobi out, we had Deshaun Elliott out. But at the end of the day, man, like you said, Super Bowl teams, Super Bowl caliber teams, regardless of bruise and bumps along the way, you're going to find wins to at least stay in games with juggernauts
hmm
like this. And to be quite honest, Drake, this one was not even close since the start clock from when it started to when it ended. So it was super abysmal. Let's just get into a few stats here. Just add fuel to the fire while we're already pissed off. Steelers total passing yards 107 to Phillies 270. Steelers rushing yards 56 to Phillies 131. Total yards Steelers 163 to Phillies 401. Drake, our leading rusher in Najee Harris, had only 6 attempts for 14 measly yards. Russell Wilson was our second leading rusher, 4 rushes for 13 yards.
Oh,
Jalen Warren, 4 for 12. Cordero Patterson, 2 for 9. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, a nicked up Saquon Barkley, 19 carries for 65 yards. Jalen Hurts, 15 for 45. And whoever that number 14 guy, that's one thing we can
Treadwell.
just,
Yeah.
whoever, bro, whoever. We're looking at this game. Saquon's got dink and dunks, bruised up, obviously, from the rip. This was first quarter. We were seeing this guy was messed up. Why not attack the ball? Why not send 5 into the box? Why are we only sending 4 guys rushing when we know they're going to have to open the pass game for this because Saquon's dinged up? And then another thing, let's just continue to fuel the fire because, I mean, while we're here with the emotions running high, why
hmm
is Pierre and Dante Jackson on the AJ Brown? Why is Joey Porter Jr. not following him on an island, being his shadow? Because anytime
Yep.
JPJ was on AJ Brown, he didn't have a single reception. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
we're playing ignorant, we're playing stupid, and having no names. I mean, at one point, a Landon Roberts was covering AJ Brown, Drake. It's just
hmm
ridiculous. It's just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, we were just lost. I mean, to be honest, that was I mean, I mean, we said it once, but I mean, we lost in all 3 phases. That was pure domination, Pierce. That was pure domination on all fronts. From the opening whistle, we just kind of looked dumbfounded. We didn't really have an identity to that game. And quite frankly, we don't really still have an identity on offense. Like we
Nope.
find it at times, but we lose it. And I think it's just a testament that we're still stubborn in trying to live in the good old days of smash mouth football, handing the ball to Willie Parker, handing the ball to Jerome Bettis, and beating you with our will. We're just not that team anymore, and it comes to a point where we just don't have the personnel. Like, play to your personnel. Your personnel is like our playmakers on the field. The only real guys that can make a play like out of nothing, I would say, are Warren. The guys on the field today. I'm not
Mhm.
talking in general, but on today are Warren, Fryermuth, and I know this may sound surprising. I'm going to say Mike
Fields.
freaking Williams.
Mike Williams.
Oh yeah, and Justin Fields.
Hey,
Justin
Fields.
Fields when he sees the fields, no pun
Yeah.
intended. But Mike Williams, and it boggles my mind. He has 5 targets, 4 catches, 1 touchdown. 1 or 2 of those is a freaking one-handed catch. The guy only makes plays, and I'm sick of hearing it's a moving train. I don't care if it's a moving train. It doesn't take a scientist to say, hey, this is a go route. All right, just run a freaking go route and give them 1 shot a game. I don't understand our reluctancy. I don't care if they're throwing coverages. You have to keep the secondary honest. I felt like, besides 1 deep shot to quadruple coverage to Van Jefferson, we literally did not test that secondary maybe at all. On the positive note, though, I will say this. Giving out flowers, because it's not all doom and gloom. One guy that's on a tear is Pat Fryer. Thank God we signed him to an extension, because he is living up to it. I've had my skepticism at times. I was like, all right, Muth, you got to prove it this year. But Pat has been playing lights out.
Touchdown grab.
Yeah.
That was a
And
big man grab in the end zone. Big man.
Like you said, Pierce, anytime the guy's targeted, he makes a play. I don't know why he doesn't get more targets. I think he should get targets, just obligatory targets where, shit, Pat is covered. I'm just going to give him a shot.
It's got to be that F it, Pat's down there somewhere kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Because obviously with Pickens out, we don't really have that guy. And to touch on your point earlier, Drake, hop on a moving train. Well, at least the train's moving right now. But the way that this football team is playing, this is a one and done in the playoffs. And that train comes to an abrupt stop come January, which, I mean, if the train's moving and has some steam behind it, might as well try to get this guy incorporated. Because what happens in crunch time in January when we're faced in a similar situation, down 14 against the Bills? We're going to respond by not throwing. We're going to respond by putting Scotty Miller in more touches and more snaps than we are Van Jefferson or Mike Williams. Like, this is just absolutely abysmal. Skowronek had more yards than Williams this game, bro. Skowronek had more yards and more attempts than Williams, which, I mean, yes, to your point, moving train, or in Tomlin's words, tough to hop on a moving train. Well, this thing, the way we played today, this train's coming to a damn abrupt stop first round in playoffs, because this style of football is not beating the Chargers, the Ravens, sure as hell is not beating the Chiefs or the Bills. So we got to get right and get right quick, because we got a short week turnaround until we go into Baltimore, 2 road games back to back, get this taste out of our mouth and see what we're actually made of. George Pickens, I know he's rumored to potentially return, but holy hell does it look like we need that man back on the field.
Let me tell you something.
Egregious.
You know who the only person that is licking their chops right now? It's George Pickens and George Pickens' agent, because these offensive outputs without George Pickens, I know his agent is going to be looking at. He's going to be talking to Omar Khan, Pierce. He's going to say, "Hey, you remember that game against Philly? You remember that game against Cleveland?" He's going to get an absolute bag based off of how we've been playing.
If not from us, someone else.
But I don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying. I mean, I'm just as discouraged about our overall likelihood of actually being a serious contender. But let's rein it in just a second. You beat Baltimore, you get your first ever home playoff game since 2018 or 2020. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Granted, Pierce, I know this is not the performance neither of us wanted. This is not the performance that the team wanted. I'm not here to make excuses or really cover anything, but I will bring it back to reality and say this. A win versus Baltimore, you suddenly clinch.
Tougher win than this one was, it seems like, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, next week's going to be a ball. It's going to be a freaking – it's going to be a brawl. It's going to be a brawl bath, and may the best team win. I mean, they're going to be coming Baltimore's going to be that town is going to
They're
be
scrapping. I
freaking
mean, they're still in the wild card contention. It's not like, I mean,
yeah.
did they play today or was this no,
They won 35-14 against the Giants. They
that's right.
blew the
That's right.
Giants' doors
Blew
off.
the Giant, and so now what? Did they close that? We only got a 1 game lead right now, so very
One game
well.
lead. So you lose it and you're tied in record, but I think
We
Baltimore
got the
will
edge because
take
of division. No, we have the edge because of division. We're 3-1 in the division. They're like
yeah.
2-2.
But you win against Baltimore on Saturday. It's going to be a Saturday game at 4 o'clock. You win the game against Baltimore, you are suddenly looking at a home playoff game. Ultimately, Pierce, my expectations for this season was one win in the playoffs, and I think it's a lot more feasible if you get one in Pittsburgh at Acrisure. It's a whole of a hell lot more feasible if you get home. And then
Can't
just prayers
argue
for
with
TJ
that.
Watt.
I was literally going to lead on right into that. Obviously, we're hoping today with I think it was the Broncos L. Someone took an L that basically clinched us a playoff
Colts.
spot. Colts took it, so obviously that grants us a playoff berth. We're going to be in the playoffs, point blank, period. No way around it, whether we're a wild card, a 3 seed, a 1 seed, the first in the North, whatever it ends up being. We've made it to the dance. Now let's just try to get into the dance healthy because obviously we want that home playoff game, being a division leader. Obviously, we were fighting for that 1 seed, but the way the Bills blew the doors off the Lions and the Chiefs found a way against the Browns. Obviously, it seems like that's a little bit unattainable at this point. But yes, TJ went
That's a
down.
pipe dream.
Yes, TJ went down. It did not look like it was too serious. Thankfully, from what I heard, he was able to get up and walk on his own power to the locker room. Looked like it was an ankle of some sort, some leg-related injury. Let's hope it doesn't keep him out too long, but this again is a short week. We play in 6 days again in Baltimore. Divisional game, hard hitting. We know this one's going to be a tough one, so hopefully he can get ready, get right for that. I guess glass half full kind of look at this thing. Granted, Chiefs are probably walking away with the 1 seed, if not the Bills coming to catch them. But Patrick Mahomes did get dinged up this game. Who's to say
Yeah.
if he'll be out come the Christmas game and here in a week and a half, which is wild. We're going to have 3 games over the next span of 11 days starting today. Absolutely crazy. NFL trying to do us dirty, especially with this gauntlet that they threw at us. But I mean, it's just we gotta flush this one quick as to all of the other losses this season. This one definitely hurt a little bit more, being the Battle of the Keystone State. First real look at a NFC rival at this point of a potential Super Bowl matchup from what people are saying. But again, sky is not falling by any means. We're still 5-1 against current playoff teams as we stand. So
Yeah.
gotta feel good with that. Having no Ogunjobi, having no Deshaun Elliott, having no George Pickens, I think we had a hell of a fight. And granted, if it didn't come to that one fumble against with Najee Harris down there, I think we're talking a little bit different of a tune. Even if we only lose by like 3 or so, we're definitely spinning the block a little different than we are now. Tap in.
I'm not trying to change. I'm not trying to create a narrative that is defines this game. It ultimately we lost. But let me say one thing. First and goal at the 8. Are you kidding me with the 2 penalties on the Steelers on an unnecessary
Bogus.
roughness?
Bogus.
Are you kidding?
Bogus.
So they I got Twitter footage that shows Darius Slay throwing punches.
Punching.
I got footage of another Eagles player throwing punches. How are we going to single-handedly just pick 2 Steeler players and knock us out? I mean, let's just call it how it is. Once you get a holding call or unnecessary roughness, first and goal, that drive's over. You're going for 3. Let's just call it how it is.
Especially for
And
us.
then let's talk about, look, I know we didn't deserve it, but let's just call it how it is. That play, I mean, what's his name? Hayward's brother, Connor Hayward, gets slapped in the face
Yep.
like a second before the punt, and they say I watched the replay, Pierce. The punt is clearly coming after the slap in the face. They just moved the Eagles back 2 yards. I don't know what that was about. I thought we kind of got hosed with officiating. Like I said, that's not the narrative to take away from this game. I thought, but there was some poor calls, especially the one in the red zone. But like you said, I mean, at the end of the day, we can try to defer this game from Najee. But what's the one play we remember from the Steelers-Packers Super Bowl? Rashard Mendenhall fumbled the ball. What's the one game we remember against the Broncos when we should have beat Peyton Manning in his last year? Fitzgerald Toussaint fumbling the ball up 1 in the Broncos territory. What's the one play we're going to remember from this game, if any?
Yes.
It's going to be Najee's fumble. So I totally agree. It was a team loss, but at the end of the day, catch the damn toss. Don't call the damn toss play.
Facts. Why
Don't
are we
call the
pitching
damn
the ball
toss
10
play.
yards behind the line of scrimmage within the red zone
And that's not just because of the outcome. That's because that freaking play has hardly worked all season.
I agree. And you guys, the audience members, go and fact check me because I'm just going to go out and hopefully call a spade a spade. But, like, when have we ever done a pitch route to Najee Harris that's given us more than 5 yards? Like,
One play.
Go and
That
figure.
one play against the Raiders where he got a touchdown.
Raiders.
That's
that was like 6-7 weeks ago, bro. Why are we still trying this? Insanity's doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. 90% of the time we pitch it 10 yards behind the scrimmage to Najee Harris. It gets maybe back to the line of scrimmage or a 2-yard gain. It's idiotic. I thought a lot of the offensive play calling was just not teed up properly this game. Granted, we don't have our number one guy out there, but to your point earlier, Drake, Super Bowl, even deep running playoff teams are able to face adversity with a player or two down and find ways to win, find ways to get creative, and continue to stay scrappy in the fight. This one, I mean, saw a lot of fight, saw a lot of resilience, a lot of fight back. But again, come the turn of that, like the air was sucked out of us when the Najee Harris fumble. But that's not all I'm pinning this L on. There was plenty of other things. I've never seen our defense get so gashed before. I feel like they were just giving up chunk play after chunk play, couldn't get off the field on third down. Granted, they were given short fields at times, but man, I mean.
No, they were not. They got 2 drives from their own 5-yard line. They took both drives. One was the drive that went, 10 minutes?
Oh, yeah.
They took it from their 4, and then they did it again. They did it
Drake,
twice.
I told you. Someone fact check me. Drop it in the comments. When is the last time in NFL history a team has only gotten the ball 2 times in the second half for 11 plays? Boggles my mind. That's a horrible statistic to be a part of. I can't think of the last time it's happened. But
hopefully this is just an outlier of a game, but I will say that was the first time all season where the Steelers looked just out physicaled in every aspect. I mean, Pierce, they literally did whatever they wanted in the second half. And that's coming from a team that prides themselves on making adjustments in the second half. We have the best, I think we have like the best third quarter differential than any other team. We laid a duck in the third quarter, and it sure as hell didn't get any better in the fourth. Like I said, I'm not pressing the alarm, but just as a foreshadowing, come playoff time, I don't know if we can out physical teams. We are really going to have to actually learn how to out finesse teams because we're just not going to be able to run the ball down people's throats. It doesn't appear that way.
The league is adapting, and unfortunately, we seem to be stuck in our old ways. Like I said to start this thing, same shit, new maggots, supposedly, from what it seems like, giving very 2020 vibes where it's just you feel like you're in it. Again, granted, the sky's not falling. It's one game. To your point, no one really expected us to come in here. I told you at the beginning of this game, as it was getting ready to kick off, do I have a weird gut feeling thinking that we could just get our asses spanked this game and it's a blowout? I mean, that's truly, I think Steeler Nation across the board was feeling that to some extent. So granted, it's not like I'm overly surprised. This is that old, this is when you hear from your dad, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. That's kind of what it comes to at the end of the day. I'm not upset or completely over the moon with the L. It's just the way that we took the L was deflating, embarrassing, and just quite honestly, I'm ready to flush it, forget it, and move on to the next. I'm giving myself the 24-hour rule. This one hurts like a MFer, but inevitably, our feelings, our emotions don't mean shit. We still got a game here in 6 weeks or 6 days against a division rival in the Baltimore Ravens on the road again. Let's see what this team's made out of, Drake. Let's see if George Pickens can get healthy. Let's see if Larry O can get back. Deshaun Elliott, TJ, praying to the heavens that man is safe, because if he's done and out for the rest of the season,
no. If he talked to reporters, he just said it was an ankle twist. I just saw it appear.
And at that point in the game, why would he stay in and keep fighting through it? So he was just trying to not worsen the injury. I mean, hopefully he'll come back. I highly doubt he'll miss the Baltimore game, but shit needs to change and change fast. I thought Tomlin had the guys underprepared. Like you said, we just got out physical, and that comes down to preparation and the way that your coach is getting you ready for the week. So no
Yeah,
excuses on this one. Fumbled a bad L, but let's watch the taste, get it out our mouth, and get ready for Baltimore next week.
let's get it.
Anything else you want to tap into before we head on out of here?
I mean, yeah, the sky's not falling, but it sure as heck didn't. I didn't expect it to be that bad. But I mean, ultimately, I put all your chips on the table for this game. This is probably at this point in the
Do
season.
or
This is our
die.
most meaning. Yeah, this is our most meaningful game of the season. Everything I think, as far as tangible, realistic goals, was get a home playoff game and victory out of it, and this is how you secure it. So win this game. I mean, if you win this game, this game is absolutely in the back of my
In the
mind.
rear view.
If we
Yep.
win this, yeah,
Completely. And again, I don't want to overshadow the loss because definitely this one hurt, and I feel like it was one that they just kept giving us opportunities. Like I said, with the early turnovers, with us going in with Najee and fumbling, like I think we were right on the doorstep until our spirits got completely crushed. But Steelers Nation, think back. When is the last time we have clinched a playoff spot with 3 weeks left in the season? 9 times out of 10, we're having to get down to the last week, win our last 5 games, and hope and pray that other teams fumble it to give us a spot in as the last wild card spot. You
yeah,
feel me? So,
yeah.
I mean, you're going to lose some games over the stretch of the season. This one's unfortunate. It definitely hurt, but like the Cleveland game, with the snowstorm, let's see how we respond. Let's see how we can get healthy and get back after it. But gonna need to make a statement in Baltimore next week.
100% agree. All the chips are on the table, Pierce.
Well, y'all, we appreciate you tuning in. Steelers Nation, keep that chin high. Season is far from over. A few more games to keep pounding. We're getting into the deep stretch of this gauntlet, so obviously we're going to need to continue to rally, wave those towels, get healthy again, and be ready for some divisional football play in the AFC North. But until next time, Steelers Nation, we will have a preview out for the Baltimore game here shortly. You guys enjoy what you can of the rest of this weekend and into next week. Wish we could be celebrating Victory Monday, but hopefully we get a Victory Sunday next week.
Here we go, Steelers. Here we go.
All right, I'll catch you, Drake.
See you, brother.
Peace.